seems awfully formal, doesn't it? Let me see. Do whatever the heck I want. I'm going to take this apart right off the bat. Hello! Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the first law of show business, always check your fly. I just came out of the restroom. Well, this is not going to work for me. I don't want to mess things up. Maybe I'll sit on the end of the table. How's that look?
That's it.
Cool? Okay. Watch the entire table fall over. So, thank you. Thank you for coming. It's nice to be back in Toronto. I have been to Toronto for a Star Trek convention years ago. It's a competitor to this convention, so I won't mention the name. And I played the Royal Alex Theatre when I was 23 years old. I played Jack Lemmon's son in a play that eventually went to Broadway called Tribute. So I had the honor of playing that wonderful, beautiful old theater here that's loaded with history. There's scads of black and white pictures of all the famous actors who play there when you go backstage. It was quite an experience. And then I did a sort of a crappy TV movie here once that I don't remember. I know I had a hairpiece on it. That's all I remember. I used to wear other people's hair back in the old days. Did you know that most brown hair, if you buy a wig with dark brown hair, it probably came from the Italian hair market, which is nuns?
Oh, wow.
Nuns sell their hair. I mean, for the benefit of, you know, where nuns are. The convent, thank you. The convent. So anyway, so I've had nun's hair glued to my head for many years of my career. That's a very interesting tidbit. I did a TV series called China Beach years ago where I wore a toupee. Incidentally, I don't recommend wearing a hairpiece under a helicopter. Not a very smart idea. Any moment you could get $2,500 worth of nun's hair sucked up into the tail rotor. But China Beach was a great experience. Got to work with Dana Delaney and Mark Helgenberger, all sorts of beautiful girls. And because I wore a toupee, I got to get kissed. Back then on American television, if you didn't have hair, you didn't get kissed by a girl. And Patrick Stewart changed all that. When I was cast in Voyager, they were fans of China Beach, Michael Piller and Rick Berman, and I said, you know, I work in a toupee. Sometimes. You want me with or without hair? He said, we want you just the way you are. We've had a great deal of success with bald men. I think it's because they had some leftover Patrick Stewart dolls and they just wanted to repaint the top of the uniform. I'm convinced that's why I got hired. So you're a very warm crowd. You have a very low entertainment threshold, which is great. We'll get along just fine. So boy, this is Friday and this event's really taken off quickly. You guys have been, do you travel from all different parts of Canada to come here?
Yes.
Really? So scream out where you're from.
Alberta.
Of course you're from Ottawa.
Alberta.
All over Canada. That's so cool. I get to work in Vancouver quite a bit on Stargate. I always have a few Canadian dollars at home now. It's great. When I go to leave, I go, oh yeah, I get something, you know, I'll find something from my last trip. I love to work on that show. The cast is great. I love to go to Vancouver. I love to come here, but it's a much easier flight, obviously, from LA to go up to Vancouver. Don't have to change those pesky time zones and then start popping melatonin. I will take questions if you want to. Otherwise, I'm very self-motivating. I can talk straight without any problem. But if you have questions, you can raise your hand, and then I'll ignore you. This gentleman, yes. All right, I'll do a couple of lines, all right?
Right on.
You better stand up. I'm completely not warmed up, so this could get ugly. All right. La donna immobile, qual più mal vento, muta d'argento, e di pensiero, sempre un amabile, leggiadro viso, impianto in riso, e menzognero. Tuvok, I understand, you are a Vulcan man. You have just gone without for 7 years about. I love that line. I have 2 CDs of me singing down on the autograph table, and I do song parodies. I mean, one of them has a little bit of opera on it too, but it's mostly just for fun. And what I do is I sing songs that make terrible fun of Star Trek and Voyager and myself, and even you. There's even one song that pokes a lot of fun at the fans too. But it's mostly poking fun at myself. And $4 from each disc, $4 US goes to the Pediatric AIDS Foundation. I've been doing that for a long time, and they're a great charity. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll sing something else. I'll sing something from one of the discs in a couple of minutes too. I'll do one now, actually. Does the sound system work, do we think?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, let me set this up first, and then hopefully it'll be loud enough, the sound, for me to sing along with it. This is in honor of all the beautiful women who have appeared on Star Trek over the course of the last 40 years. This is a little song about a Star Trek fan who's so in love with all of the different beautiful women over the last 40 years that he has written songs and poems about them. But now his new favorite is 7 of 9, but he can't rhyme the name Annika. So he can't make up a song about her. That's how stupid this song is. So let's see, hit it. Let's see if I can hear the music. I knew this was gonna happen. I have background music, but only if it plays. I'll tell you what, if the music kicks in, then I'll sing. No, wrong one. But that's a good sign. Number 8, Maestro. That's still not it. But you're getting me. Oh, that's a good one too, but that's not it. These are all the different songs, but all the wrong ones. But you can tell the production values are very good. No, that's not it either. Can't find number 8?
Got the 7.
It's random. Hear me now, thou bleak. I'm sorry. All right, well this is guess what song you're about to sing. Just play anyone and I'll sing it. I don't even recognize that one. Keep going. I'll just do it. They asked me how to get to the Star Trek set. So I sadly spoke, just follow the smoke till you start to choke. We hated all the phony smoke. We had to shoot all those battle scenes in all the time, so that's what this is making fun of. I saw them coming back with their nostrils black. They choked and wondered why. They felt like they would die from something in their eyes. I don't remember the words of this one. I don't know how I'm going to get through the rest of it. So I chaffed them and I gaily laughed as they started to succumb to toxic fumes spewing from Starfleet rooms. How could they be so dumb? Now, gasping friends know well of our living hell. Oh, so I smile and sigh when you shoot sci-fi. Smoke gets in your eyes. Long way around the block. But here's the beginning. You ready? Smoke gets in your eyes. Thank you. Yes. So if you like that one, then the other ones are much better. We'll pick another one in a minute.
Number 8.
It was weird. Thank you. Yes, we all hated the fact that we had to use that phony smoke, which makes you sick. And, you know, after we would shoot one of the Borg episodes for 18 hours and go home and you blow your nose, it's really disgusting. So we would complain about that all the time. So that was really an in-joke for me and my fellow cast members about all the crap that we inhaled over those 7 years. For you. We did it for you, and to put my children through college, but also for you.
Thank
Do you
you.
have other questions? You know, I feel like I'm tethered here. Look at this. It's like,
Jerry Ryan, like,
what was Ryan like to work with? When Jerry Ryan got hired, and I saw her in that outfit for the first time, I was afraid of being caught staring at her. So the first 3 or 4 months she worked on the show, I never looked at her unless we were filming. I mean, she'd be standing right next to me. And I was afraid if she standing and turned around and I was staring at her butt, that would be rude. So what I did is every time she was standing here, I would do this. Until we went to do the scene, and then I would talk to her because I was so scared that I didn't want to get locked on. Well, you know what, I get over that in about 3 months. Then I just stare away. Stare as much as I wanted. And she was great. She used to pinch me on the butt all the time. She was good. Because I explained to her that I actually had the best butt in the show. And then, and then she tried it out and she agreed pretty much. But she was a lot of fun. And one of my favorite episodes, well, 2 of them are heavily involved with her, obviously. I love the one where the doctor is inside of 7 of 9, but not in a fun way. But you remember that one where I've been downloaded inside her, and she had to do her impression of me? I thought she was hilarious, and that just unbelievably funny. And then, what else did I really? Oh, I loved Tinker, Tenor, Doctor, Spy, where all 3 of our senior female officers, well, technically 7 of 9 is not an officer. All right, let me start again. Where Janeway, 7 of 9, and Torres were all throwing themselves at the doctor in the briefing room. Because it was his fantasy. That was my favorite day in 7 years. Where under the table, Torres is rubbing my ankle with her naked foot, and 7 of 9 is propositioning me over the table via a pad. And then Captain Janeway comes and tells me about her lower back pain, and then places my hand on the lowest lower back pain. That was great to have my hand on the seat of power. It was a very, very good day. So that was a lot of fun. I just couldn't understand why it ended. Yes, sir.
will that might give you more chord, I'm wondering?
To move more? It might. Let me try that. Would you mind well then, see, I'm undoing all their work there. That one's all, I just don't want to mess up their fine, ooh, look. Their fine work. Now I can move over to here. That's great. Let's try, should we try another song? I have no idea what it's going to be. Just pick one and then, can you pause? You think you figured it out? Well, I don't want to do the other one anymore. You know what I want to do? If you have figured it out, I think I want to do now number 5 in just a second. You know, it's Star Trek's 40th anniversary. And there are not a lot of Star Trek conventions anymore, if you notice, guys.
Yes.
I mean, the Big Creation convention in Vegas is about the only one that's totally dedicated to Star Trek. So I had a little fun with that about how Star Trek was the aging franchise, and I thought I would sing that to you right now. Hopefully. You lied to me. It's the first one, I think, but I'm not sure. No, it's not. I think that's it. I think that was it. Go back. That's it. Tonight, you're mine completely. You laugh and cheer so sweetly. But Star Trek cons are at an all-time low. Will you still love me tomorrow? I'm not accusing someone killed our franchise as Star Trek slowly hits the big 4-0. Will you still love me tomorrow? Tonight would be so nifty if you would take a vow and pledge to honor it. That when old Star Trek's turning 50, you'll be here and you'll cheer this same crock of Please be my loyal star date. Although I cheat on you with Stargate. So tell me now, and I won't ask again. Will you love Star Trek tomorrow? Laugh at this glib dreck tomorrow. Still write that big check tomorrow. Thank you. I'm sorry. Oh, we used to love me tomorrow. These are, I said, song parodies on my 2 discs, which are called Basic Bob and Extreme Bob. Because Extreme Bob has a few more dirty words on it, I think. I also wrote a book. If you missed the doctor, I wrote a book called The Hologram's Handbook. It's a how-to book. If you're smarter than everyone else in the world, it's how to get along with stupid people. And I have the audiobook on my table. It also benefits the Pediatric AIDS Foundation. I read the funniest parts of the book, and it's pretty funny. It's the only way to get an extra dose of the doctor if you miss the old guy. And I had a good time not only writing it, I wrote it in various hotel rooms across the world. But it was fun to record it because I got to be that character again. You know, I hadn't done it in a little while, and to sort of get to do that fruity, snooty character again, who I kind of miss, you know, old stick up the butt. Actually, the producer called him Dr. Fancy Pants. Because the doctor was just a little gay, you know, just a little, not too, you know. And he still had the hots for 7 and 9, but he did act a little bit, you know, a little light in the loafers, don't you think, Mr. Tad? I know the rest of the cast used to tease me incredibly about that, about how the doctor was little, you know, like this all the time. Anyway, do you have other questions? Yes.
Yeah, good intro of my question, actually. How much of your personality is in the doctor?
Well, I'm extremely masculine. I mean, the fact that I went bald at a year and a half of age because I had so much testosterone. I think that inevitably, as the doctor grew and changed, because I made so many suggestions about the character. I mean, I went to Jerry Taylor the first year and said, "Can the doctor be an opera fan?" And she said, "Well, I don't know. We've just done a whole bunch of Klingon opera stuff on Deep Space Nine, but let me think about it." So sure enough, 3 years later, she writes an episode where I'm singing opera. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute." I said I wanted to listen to it. But I made many suggestions over the years, and they didn't take them all. Some of them they did, some of them they didn't. But I noticed that more of the suggestions reflected things that I like to do. In other words, there were more of me in them. So I think the doctor had a lot better posture than I did. I was always standing, you know, very, you know, sort of hyper-extended back and all that. And I think that he was a lot crankier and more disdainful. I smile a lot. In fact, my children, when I first got on the show, my kids were very young, and my younger daughter said, "Daddy, why are you so mad? Why are you so mad all the time?" Because I never smiled. And I said, "Well, dear, they paid me to be mad. Someday you'll appreciate that." Also, my younger daughter was about 4 when we did the second, I think it was the very second episode after the pilot, and they shrank the doctor down to like it was optical, but they shrank me down like a sort of a fat, squat fire hydrant. My daughter went, "Oh, Daddy, get small, Daddy, get small. Do it, Daddy." She thought I had this really cool parlor trick that I'd never showed her, and that I could just like do that, you know? And then my older daughter, who was, I think was like 6.5 when we went on the air, and she said, "Daddy, why do you have to drive to the studio? Why doesn't the ship just fly over and beam you on board?" And I said, "You know, it's time to visit the set." And I didn't realize how literally they took everything. My kids grew up with me on the show. I mean, when my action figure came out, right? They were at doll age. So I'd come home and my action figure would be like riding shotgun in the Barbie car. There'd be this really cute blonde with her, hair out, and then this little bald guy in a suit. I was riding around, like that. And I was called Daddy the Doll. It was really cute. And then, if the kids are mad at you, Daddy might be strapped to the fender of the Barbie car, smashed into the wall or whatever. You'd say, "Honey." But that was fun having an action figure. And it must be weird for your children to have a little doll of you to play with, but they did. And they say, "You want to play too?" And Daddy doesn't play with himself in public. I'm a joke you get away with when your kids are 4. It goes right over their head. Yes?
Did you play the doctor a bit for us?
Would I play the doctor a bit? That's tough. It's been a while, and I believe it or not, with all those lines, I don't remember whole scenes or something like that. So, and and it's just stupid to say please stay. So I would have read from the book. I meant to bring a copy of the book and I forgot. So we went in the dealer's room and went to 20 people who sell science fiction books, and my book is not on anyone's table. And I only had the audiobook, so I would have to play it out loud. So I don't know what to tell you. You know what? Come up to the autograph table. By then I'll think of something I can say, other than please state the nature of the medical emergency. Yes, in the back.
Yes, I was just wondering, Karen said that we had a bunch of practical jokers on here. And apparently during the time you sang that opera on bar, apparently the cameras kept rolling on Tuvok.
This is a famous, Tuvok was supposedly experiencing the Ponfar. It not only happened, there's film of it. And they showed it at our rap party. When you experience the Ponfar, you're driven with an irresistible urge to mate. Well, apparently Mr. Neelix looked good enough to Tuvok. At the end of one take, Mr. Neelix went and had his way Mr. Tuvok had his way with Mr. Neelix. It was sort of like Star Trek Deliverance. You got a pretty mouth to Lexi. It was really, it wasn't that bad. No, it was a very unfortunate thing to witness. But yes, that was one of the more famous things. And it all went down on film, and they showed it as part of our gag reel at the rap party. So we have the film on Mr. Phillips. So anytime we want to, we can, can probably have him. Well, actually, I guess Tuvok is the one to be put away. Although Neelix would be more popular in prison. Just kidding. Sorry, let's get off that topic. It is Friday night. We can get a little blue, can't we? Just a little blue. We're a Sunday show. I wouldn't have said that. Yes, in the back, sir.
Yes, I'm a huge Voyager fan, but I'm a bigger fan of Planet Earth. And I'm wondering, if there's going to be any release of that on DVD next
The question was, for China Beach fans, whether they will ever release the series on DVD. What's holding it up, of course, is all that wonderful archival 60s music they had in the soundtracks. Back then, no one anticipated a business model of selling a television show. Who would think about that? So no one made reuse deals beyond airing it on television and in reruns. So no one made a deal for the music. And what you have to do to release an old television shows, you have to go back and negotiate with all of the different artists that are in the soundtrack. And it just holds up a show like China Beach that has so much music, because you just need one person or one guy to say, no, I want, I don't want $5,000, I want $15,000 to play, give me some lovin' in the pilot or whatever. And then the show never comes out. Because in order for them to take it out, they have to go in and remix the whole soundtrack. It's a lot of money. So I had lunch with the China Beach producer. I've seen him a few times over the recent years, but he told me at lunch 2 years ago he thought it would come out last year. So it will come out, but hopefully we'll all still be alive when they settle the music rights to it. That's all that's holding it up. Yes, over there.
What do you think of your character Woolsey?
What do I think of my character Woolsey on Stargate? Well, when they first hired me, I was just a plain bad guy. I came in to be that obnoxious, guy who scares everybody, and I'm investigating everybody here at Stargate Command. Incidentally, whenever I work on that show, we have at least one blown take where I get through the whole line and I say Starfleet, and then the entire crew laughs at me. I had this one scene with Amanda where I'm just yelling at her, I'm reading her the riot act, and at the very end, I'm going to say, this would go a long way with Starfleet Command. And then I went, no. So Woolsey was not very interesting at first, but they liked me enough. I think the producers liked having me up there enough that they basically wrote another episode where they redeemed me right away. They showed that even though I was a stick in the mud, I really believed in civilian oversight of secret military operations. I felt I was doing the right thing, even though I had no people skills. And they sort of warmed the character up by giving him some foibles, making him a bit of a... What I love about the character is that in the conference room, he's very bossy and demanding, and the moment you put him out in the field with any danger, he's a coward. And I like that because we got an awful lot of people in our country running a war who've never served in the military. And I kind of wonder sometimes if we dropped old Dick Cheney up there right now, how brave he'd be.
He'd shoot somebody.
That's the back of my mind. I mean, when you've had, I think he had 3 or 5 military deferments or something like that. So, I mean, it just makes you wonder when you have, because I think there's a lot to be said for having people that have actually served in the military that are planning and making the decisions and plotting the strategy. So, anyway, that's one of the themes that I like about Woolsey's character, because even though he's very sort of powerful and has very strong opinions, when he's around the conference table, and you'll see this, there's an upcoming Atlantis episode where they paired me with Richard Dean Anderson, which was a great deal of fun, because he and I are basically in danger together. We're held captive, and I annoy the hell out of him. So we had a really terrific kind of Oscar and Felix relationship, and he's a great guy. I met him before, but never worked with him, and we had a terrific time. So I'm really looking forward to that Atlantis 2-parter, which will be on very soon, the next couple weeks. Yes? I didn't offend anybody with my Dick Cheney comment, did I? Sorry. Okay. I didn't think up here. I'm up here in Canada, so I had a feeling I wasn't. But if anybody wants to come up and express a contrasting point of view, you're more than welcome. Because I don't censor my people with differing opinions. The question is, do I enjoy working in sci-fi more than other genres? No, I won't say more, but I enjoy working in sci-fi. And what's wonderful about it is you have a dedicated public in science fiction, because you guys are loyal watchers. You like something, and you'll follow that actor to another show. And I have Star Trek fans who I think will follow me and watch shows that they might not watch even in non-science fiction, but certainly in science fiction they like to see actors that they know from another show that they've already enjoyed the actor in. So I appreciate that loyalty, and it's great, frankly, to be on, to have new stuff. Not only my body of work on Voyager, which I'm very proud of, but to be able to pop up on Atlantis and SG-1 and to keep my profile up in science fiction is a really nice thing, in addition to the fact that I really like working with those actors and those producers who treat me really, really nicely and very respectfully. So I think a lot of the producers did watch Voyager, or at least were pretty familiar with it, but I'm treated very nicely by them. But I also like to do a little of everything. I just took a play in LA. I haven't done a play in about a year and a half, so I'm doing an Arthur Miller play that I'm rehearsing. I just started rehearsing in California. So I love to work on stage and different kinds of television shows. And when I can get them, movies. I also did a movie this summer called Universal Remote, which will come out next year. It's a comedy. It's really a sketch comedy movie, and I play 2 different characters. One with hair and one without. Yes?
You've done voice work on Justice League.
The question is, what's it like doing voice work on shows like Justice League Unlimited? Again, I love doing animation. I tend to do comedy when I do animation. I've done Grim and Evil and Cow and Chicken and all those sort of wild Cartoon Network comedies. But years ago, I did several episodes of the Batman series, and I guess the same director, Andrea Romano, who does most of the dramatic stuff for Warner Brothers, she hired me for Justice League, and I played Black Hawk, and I also played Amazo, which was a character I came back a few times. It's fun, it's great. Animation is really exciting because it's instant performance. The actors who do it a lot are terrific. I mean, they can change on a dime. They take direction, whatever direction they get from the director, and their performance, it's just amazing how facile they are. And I like trying to keep up with the guys who really, that's almost all they do in their career. But Justice League had a lot of very successful actors who were in other television shows, like David Rosenbaum from, isn't that? Michael Rosenbaum, forgive me, I'm sorry. Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, and oh gosh, and from Alias, wonderful actor. I'm not gonna, Carl Lumley, who was on Alias, was he not? He was on, he was on another, he was also on Justice League. He had some really, really great actors, so it's fun. Animation is very fun to do. Yes?
So I remember the day in 1986 when Martin Dangerfield walked in on making out with his wife. Is that your real hair?
The movie was called Back to School, starring Rodney Dangerfield, and I originally had about 5 or 6 scenes in it. I was hired to feel up Adrienne Barbeau. That's a cushy job. I was her music teacher. She was having an affair with. Now that was a hairpiece, Signor Giorgio, and that was a fun job too. But Rodney comes in and catches us making out in the kitchen, and I think when she turns around, there are 2 large handprints on her butt of flour, because we were up on the table where they were making something. It's an old gag, but it's funny to get a line reading from Rodney Dangerfield, because of course, if you listen to him, you'd be doing the same thing he does. He said, you said, we was just looking for some cocktail napkins. He does that, whatever, the thing where he touches his tie and twitches his neck like that. Everybody would, if they listened to him, everybody would be doing that in the movie. But that was an interesting experience, because you're working with a guy who's got a great persona as a comedian, and there were some very funny lines in that movie too. So, yes, but that was a nice job. Adrienne, I worked with her again years later, and I told her how much I enjoyed that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, has anyone ever come to you for medical advice?
For medical advice? Yes, they died. No, of course they have. Listen, I played a doctor on China Beach, too. I was a gynecologist, and I offered many women qualified. I mean, I've had 11 years as a television doctor. I think they should let me practice. Or maybe just on fictional characters, like I could treat Bugs Bunny, if he had a leg problem or something. Nobody really asked my opinion, but you're welcome to if you're that stupid. Anyone else? I might inflict another song, and I'm trying to decide which one to do if I did. Do you want to hear what it's like working on a Star Trek show?
Yeah.
I'll do that. There was we had very long hours on Voyager. I've also blown my voice out, so I might crack on this one because I didn't warm up, but I'll try one more. There's an old Tennessee Ernie Ford song called 16 Tons. It's about working in a coal mine. Well, I adapted that to working on a Star Trek series. And that's, oh, you don't know, do you have a little list of names there? She's very good. She's very, even though she never got it on the first try yet, I really like her, because this is not her job, and she's just doing the silent. 16 hours, and what do you get? Another day of shooting on the Voyager set. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the Voyager show. Well, the studio is making undisclosable sums on our little action figures. My lawyer said to sue him, get your share of the pie, and we'll settle out of court shortly after you die. 16 hours, what do you get? Another day of shooting on the Voyager set, saying, Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the Voyager show. Well, I spend every weekend all over the place, promoting the show, autographing my face. The fans are mighty friendly, they laugh from the start, but they laugh at Ethan Phillips, can they tell us apart? 16 hours, what do you get? Another day of shooting on the Voyager set, saying, Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the Voyager show. It's not over yet, so don't get excited. Well, another day is over and I'm ready to fold. Holograms are screwed because they can never look old. When St. Peter finally calls me, here's one thing I bet. He'll ask if he and Jesus, he'll ask if he and Jesus, he'll ask if he and Jesus can visit the set. Thank you very much. You're very, very kind. Very kind. I could stay up here forever, but I've only got 5 more minutes. So if you have any other questions about odd career choices, Legend with Ridley Scott. I play a female humpbacked witch, comes out of the water and tries to eat Tom Cruise, and not in a very fun way. You remember that? Really? Ever see that movie? I have a lot of closet credits, scary credits, disgusting credits, and I brought pictures of all of them. You ever see The Howling? Eddie Quist in The Howling. I want to give you a piece of my mind. And then I pull a bullet out of my brain. I said that line as a joke. It's in the movie! I'm sorry? Inner Space, the cowboy.
Oh yeah, that's
Women love me, but you know that.
awesome.
I got to appear in snakeskin bikini briefs in front of Meg Ryan. That was a high point. The tips of my boots match my crotch at my request. That's the last time a wardrobe person ever listened to me. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry, you're a very young man. I'm sorry. If I said anything really bad, tell your dad not to be mad at me. All right, yes?
Do you have any information about the upcoming Star Trek movie in 2008?
The question is, do I know anything about the upcoming Star Trek movie in 2008? I know they've announced it. I know that J.J. Abrams, who of course directed the very successful Mission Impossible 3, said the next movie he wanted to do was a Star Trek movie. But we also know that what they originally announced it to be about is an idea that's been kicking around for some time. You know, about Spock and Kirk as younger men in Starfleet Academy, or having just begun their careers, having graduated. It'll be entirely the way it's done. I think it's a very smart thing to sort of reboot the franchise. It's worked very successfully with the Batman franchise to just start over again. And I think the unfortunate thing is it leaves all of us old guys probably out in the cold, you know, because I think they would just start all over again. But supposedly J.J. Abrams is a big fan of Star Trek, so maybe he would stunt cast some of us in there. I just know that holograms are not supposed to get older. So I've got a built-in problem. Unless I play my programmer, I can always do that. But I think that whatever they originally announced, I think that it could very easily be entirely about something else, that little blurb that they've said right now. I don't think they've decided. But they had picked apparently 2008, right? That they're announcing it for, I guess, 2008. So they better get on it fairly fast, because you know how long it takes to make a movie. usually over a year. Yes? Again, the question is, have I heard anything about another station picking up SG1 since it got canceled? I think it's possible, but it's probably unlikely because that show has been on for a long time, and I imagine that it's fairly expensive to make. More expensive. I'm sorry? $2 million per show. So that would be quite a commitment. And I also don't know if I don't think MGM doesn't have a relationship exclusively with the Sci-Fi Channel, but I don't know if it can be done. Have you heard rumors about that? Yes? Well, the comment was that Sci-Fi Channel would not let MGM air, I think per their agreement, so they couldn't air it in the States, new shows, while Atlantis was on, I guess. I doubt it's going to happen, but I honestly don't know. I would just be making it up. She knows more than I do, so I would talk to her, because she sounds far more credible than I do. In the back of the room, sir, yes?
What's your wish list, types of projects that you'd like to do but never got to?
There was that sketch I was working on of 7 of 9 Nude that I was doing in one of the shows. I never got to finish that. No. I said I wanted to do a play, and I'm going to do a lead in an Arthur Miller play called Broken Glass. It was Arthur Miller's third to the last play. It's very intense, set in the 1930s when Hitler is rising to power in Europe, but it's set in Brooklyn, and it's basically one of the main themes of the play is how all the warning signs for what was happening were clear, and people didn't see it, didn't really allow themselves to see what was happening. But my character is it's also very personal. The character's marriage is falling apart. It's a very dramatic role and should be very exciting and difficult to work on. So I wanted a challenge like that, and that's what I'm starting to do right now. Beyond that, my favorite show on television is 24. I'd love to try. I'm trying. I worked with one of the 24 directors, Brad Turner, on Stargate, and he and I hit it off. So I'm really trying to at least get a one-shot guest star on 24. I love that show, and I'd like to be on it. That's a personal. You asked for personal goals.
Yeah.
Are you pulling me off stage? You've had enough of me, right? Yes.
We have an anxious audience.
We have an anxious audience, so we have to recycle the audience, guys. You have to wipe the lint off your chairs, okay? And thank you so much for your kind attention. I hope I see you at the autograph.